Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Trent. This is Rams Talk. Thanks for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. You can also find me on Twitter at Real LA Rams Talk. Now let's get into it. Rams. I'm just coming off of this couple day high of the Thursday night game where the Rams beat the Vikings 38-31. It was Jared Goff's coming out party. It was the coming out party of this Rams offense and the reality that they are the best team in football. Granted, no other team has played 4 games other than the Rams and the Vikings, but this was on a national level, and Jared Goff just showed the world why he's an elite quarterback. It's not just a system quarterback situation. Yes, he has weapons. Yes, he's in a scheme or a system that is very progressive, but he is putting the ball there. He's the one throwing. He's executing. How many quarterbacks can put the ball in the money like he did to Cooks with 2 arms, 2 defenders right in there in the end zone, or throw a 60-yard strike to Brandin Cooks where only Brandin Cooks could catch it, or that seam route to Robert Woods that was just beautiful that he catches over his shoulder, or even that one to Gurley. I mean, like, he was on fire. He had the highest quarterback rating that you could have. It's like he maxed out. He had a QBR, I want to say, of 95.8, and in terms of QBR in all of football, he's 3rd. In terms of Pro Football Focus's quarterback rankings, he's 3rd. I mean, he's there. He has arrived. He is an elite quarterback. I started him and Cooper Kupp in one of my fantasy leagues, and it's already the game is already over. So thank you guys for helping me in fantasy and for also kicking ass in real life for my real life team. So Jared Goff this year has 1,400 yards through 4 games. Last year he had 1,076 yards through 4 games, and he also has 4 more TDs so far this year in 4 games than he did last year. So he is just ascending right before our eyes. And it doesn't help or doesn't hurt that he has a great offensive line that protected him very well again, and he has 3 top-notch receivers and a good running back that can catch the ball out of the backfield. Those 3 receivers, after 4 games, rank in the top 8 out of all receivers in terms of yards. Granted, they and Thielen and Diggs have the advantage over other teams with an extra game played, but that's still amazing. People can talk all they want about Thielen and Diggs as the best receiving duo. I'd rather have the top receiving trio. That means other defenses have to take an extra person into account. And then in terms of the Rams receivers, yes, Cooper Kupp had the most yards and kind of was the star of that game in terms of numbers, and even that catch in the end zone was great. But Brandin Cooks, let's talk about this guy. He essentially is our first-round pick in that trade with the Patriots. And if you compare him to the Patriots receivers, even though they've only played 3 games and he has 4, he has 1 more reception and almost 200 more yards than all of them. I'm sure Tom Brady would love to have Brandin Cooks back. And even last year through 4 games, he didn't have this production. So he is obviously in the right system and with the right quarterback, to be honest with you. I'm glad that the Saints and the Patriots felt like they didn't need him anymore. He has 452 receiving yards, which is almost 200 more than Sammy Watkins. And Sammy Watkins isn't bad, but he's in a prolific offense, and he's ranked 48th in terms of receiving yards. So that was definitely an upgrade in every sense of the word. And then going back to that touchdown throw that Goff and Cooks, earlier in the season, Goff was airing it out to Cooks, but it was behind him. They just hadn't clicked. The timing wasn't there. They didn't play any preseason together, and that showed. And then I feel like on Thursday night against the Vikings, Brandin Cooks and Jared Goff have finally clicked on that deep ball. And that is big trouble for opposing defenses because now they have to factor that in. I mean, Brandin Cooks is and he burned the Vikings' fastest guy. So I'm sure the Seahawks are looking at that. If they weren't already, quaking in their cleats, they definitely are thinking about that now. So Brandin Cooks, game ball to you, and Jared Goff. Todd Gurley also 73 yards. I mean, what can you say about Gurley catching that ball? Amazing, just awesome stuff. And then a lot of people want to talk about the Rams defense. And after this game, I heard a lot of rumblings about how they oh, that defense is suspect. Can they really do it with that defense? And let's not forget that they held opponents scoreless for 6 quarters this year. They held the Chargers and Phillip Rivers to fewer yards and points than they had averaged throughout the season, and that's a pretty good offense. And they held the Vikings rushing attack to even under what its average was heading into that game. And yeah, they allowed a lot of passing yards, but Talib is out, and they bent and they didn't break. And I mean, they stepped up. The defense stepped up when it mattered most. Aaron Donald just throwing Kirk Cousins down to the ground. Thank you for not putting your body weight on him. Just throw him down like a rag doll. John Franklin Myers, the law firm, comes in and creates that fumble from Kirk Cousins. And I mean, Thielen and Diggs are good. Cousins is good. I mean, they're gonna get theirs, right? But I think people really, when they're talking about this Rams defense in a negative way, they're losing sight of the numbers. And here they are. So last year, the Rams ranked 19th in defense and yards allowed per game. This year, they're 9th. Okay? So they've improved 10 spots through 4 games. Against the run, last year they were 28th. We all know that was that was their Achilles heel on the defensive side. Last year, 28th. This year, 9th. And they've played against Marshawn Lynch and David Johnson and Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler. I think it's really the offensive lines for these other teams that have been poor. That will continue against the Seahawks. And then passing-wise, that last year they were ranked 13th, and this year they're 15th. So they slipped a few spots, but that's nothing major. So just keep in mind when people are talking about the Rams defense and it's slipping, it isn't. It's better than last year, by far, across the board, except for passing. And hopefully, I'm kind of looking at this week coming up as like a bye week almost. It feels like a bye week when games was a couple days ago. Don't have a game tomorrow, and they have plenty of time to rest and get better. And hopefully Mark Barron, who knows what's going on with Mark Barron, but hopefully it just gets him one step closer to returning. And Marcus Peters, hopefully it gives his calf enough time to rest, because apparently Doug Baldwin's active for tomorrow. So if he's still healthy for the following week against the Rams, then they're going to need it. But I'm really, and Aaron Donald finally broke through with the sacks. I mean, I feel like it's very positive. I'd like to see LaMarcus Joyner step up a little bit more. That's one guy I feel like hasn't really been performing as well as previous years. But other than that, I really like what I'm seeing in all phases. So, yeah, nothing but I'm just going to continue to bask in the glow of this win and watch football tomorrow. Just knowing, hey, I got one fantasy league just locked up for this week, knowing I can just watch whatever and not feel anxious. So yeah, anyways, that'll do it. Thanks again for watching. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Find me on Twitter, Real LA Rams Talk. Tip of the cap to everyone else out there putting up awesome Rams content, Combat Sports Talk, Clash of the Horns, all of you guys out there, the Rams community, keep it up. And yes, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Go Rams.